bells that we eventually get to. But the first is always special. The first is, well, not immediately, but pretty close to the schedule's announcement that we did the show for on Monday night. And, I've let that wash over me a little bit more. Just staring at the schedule a few times, right? You should just kind of stare at it. You're like, well, you do everything from the analytics, everything from, you break it down, you analyze, you start to look at rosters, you think about where the games fall on the schedule. And then there's okay, at first glance, what do I think? Just a non-scientific, where are you at with this? Does it hit you right when you look at it? And when the answer is yes, and when you're excited having done both, then that's a pretty good schedule. You feel pretty good about that. I did an unscientific poll yesterday, Tom, at Capital City Country Club. Talked with many of the members there, and they all have an opinion about Florida State football, believe it or not. And they
really?
Of course.
An opinion about Florida State football.
Imagine that in Tallahassee.
At Capital City Country Club.
They do. They all have an opinion about it, and they were ready to go. They were ready to have that conversation. I didn't have to entice them, lure them in any way. I didn't have to offer to buy them a beverage. Most of them had one in hand. And we were discussing the schedule. And I thought, well, this is a good day. I golfed, and I talked football with the members. This is a good day.
So that unscientific poll was comprised of how many country club members?
4.
Oh, that's a good sample size. I
like
like the sample size.
It was 4. Well, actually 5, because there was a sidebar conversation on the way to the car where somebody hit me up. And I didn't elicit a comment about the schedule. They brought it up. It's omnipresent on the minds of those that are thinking, obviously, about this team this season and expectations.
It matters greatly. The sequencing of these things matters greatly. And it influences, if you want to be a gambling type, it influences maybe a half game one way or the other in the way Vegas sees it. But then also, just context always matters in a season. And in a vacuum, we love to talk about how much better we are than this team and that team. But that's where we jump on things on a Redemption Thursday, where you'll say, you know what, coming off of last week, tough road loss. I don't know how they're going to bounce back. Things like that affect the next week.
It's true. It's very true. So here we are, and we heard from players.
That too.
We heard from players today, and I don't know. Maybe later in the show we'll have a couple of clips, maybe a little bit of audio. We'll see. Maybe we will. Maybe we won't.
Sertan as well. He was very late, very, very late.
Well, we're off to a bad start, Coach.
I don't think it was on him. But
I mean, damn it, man. I'm going to respect your time if you respect mine.
Oh, God.
Let's show up for these things on time, everybody.
And the one-on-one with Norvell is canceled.
I kid everybody. Yeah, we are scheduled to talk to Coach Norvell next week. I'm very excited to talk to Coach. I always am. And I hope we get, Coach, if you're listening, I'm going to go ahead and prep you here. I'd like you to be the candid version, the relaxed, put your guard down. I got you. No ambush questions from this guy. Not this time. This is a conversation. We're just chilling. We're just talking. You don't have to sell the program. You don't have to sell it to recruits. We're having a conversation, brother. Just you and me. So Coach Norvell, next Wednesday when we have that sit down, no errors. Let's just have a man's conversation about where we're at, where it's going, where we've been, and where we hope to get to. Let's go. I like that. I'm excited about it. I'm legitimately excited about that. All jokes aside, all sarcasm aside, I haven't really had a chance to talk to Coach Norvell post-season. And, we talked to him all during the season, but I haven't had a chance to talk to him at all since Florida State's 10-win season and the lofty expectations that have been really asserted by many that cover college football across the land, not just local hacks like us, but people who cover the game are all very excited about the potential for Florida State to be very good. Somebody said something on Twitter when they saw it was W's and L's. We promoted it on Warchant, and I retweeted it. And there was, you're going to have a variety of opinions. People that think we're going to go undefeated and play for the national title, and people that think we're going to lose 6 games and that we are terrible, and everything in between. You're going to get that, and that's fine. Everybody weighs in. That's all right. I'm curious to see this first one where you go with it, because you can look at it a lot of different ways. I think most of us, the vast majority of this fan base, I would say over 75% of this fan base, maybe even a higher percentage, are really optimistic about what this team will be, and they see it as another step forward, not a mini step back, but another big step forward because of roster retention. I mean, let's be honest, because of roster retention. You got your quarterback back, start with that, and then you got all of the vital pieces you wanted back, that you needed back, and you even added, right? So you really, I mean, Verse being the next real big one, right? And there was some thought, lest we forget, that Benson wasn't going to come back. He might take it to the pros with the way that he played down the stretch. But you got everybody, just about everybody back. And I think for that reason, everybody's very hopeful. But there is another way of looking at it. You played, a grand total of 4 good teams last year, and you beat one of them? I think that's fair to say. So there is that side of it. You won one game against a good team last year. So and you could look at it that way. So my point is, you could fall anywhere in between.
You could. The one thing I'd say about the way the season ended against Florida and against Oklahoma is you got a sneak preview if you're Florida State. I've taken the other side of this and said that, those are 500 teams. You're going toe-to-toe with them, and that's a lot of film that Coach Norvell can use in the offseason to say, you think you're good? Look at this. These are 2 barely bowl-eligible programs in Florida and Oklahoma. Both finished under 500, and you couldn't put them away earlier. So there's a place that we need to go that's better than this one. But if you want to take the positive side of it, you could say that is a sneak preview of what this program should expect in 2023 from week 1 through the end of the regular season, which is you're not sneaking up on anybody. They know, Florida knew by then that if they didn't show up, they were going to get housed and embarrassed. Oklahoma, especially with all the new offensive linemen that they were putting in the rotation to start that game, knew if they weren't on their P's and Q's and they weren't calling a tight game offensively, they're going to get embarrassed. They got the best shot, in short, out of Florida and Oklahoma. Not saying that those 2 programs played over their heads. What I am saying is those last 2 games were examples of what they're going to expect this year, which is people will circle Florida State on the schedule. Last year, that was not the case. This year, it will be the case, and you got a little taste of that. Teams that don't have the record that would suggest you should be concerned are going to play over their heads. That's going to happen this upcoming season. There are going to be opponents that play over their heads because you could make their season. That upset could make their year.
Get everybody's best shot when you're hunted, and Clemson has dealt with that the last 8 years or so and handled it very, very well. It's an admirable trait of theirs. I'm not a big fan, obviously. You guys know that, of their head coach. But they also made a necessary change, Tom, this offseason, Clemson did, and that frustrates me a little bit. I think they made a change that they had to make. They brought Lincoln Riley's brother in, and he's a really good offensive coordinator, and I wish they hadn't done that.
And they got their old OC back as a grad assistant. We're not a grad assistant, but an analyst, excuse me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, they forced his hand. I don't think Dabo wanted to do any of that, but I think they saw that the writing was on the wall. The answers weren't in-house.
That's why I'm glad that Clemson is in the early portion of the schedule, because their first game is a Monday night against Duke. Whatever. I know that they're improved, but still, that's
done, Duke, by the way, on the preview.
Yep.
Mocking Dabo's sprint. That was well done.
Then they've got Charleston Southern, and then they've got FAU. Florida State has LSU, obviously, in week 1, and then you would think there are 2 wins coming sandwiched between the LSU and the Clemson games. FSU will be in a much more prepared position to play that game, and Clemson breaking in a new offensive coordinator, maybe a new philosophy, along with a quarterback making his 5th career start. I know it's at home. Otherwise, I'd feel a hell of a lot better about that game if it was here in Tallahassee. But the circumstances, if you're going to play Clemson on the road this year, you'd rather play them earlier when they're breaking in a new quarterback and a new offensive philosophy and mindset. That's, I think, actually a plus. The more I remove myself from schedule release night, the more I like where that game is.
I think, first of all, 2 things about where that game is, and I agree with you. I like where it is. First of all, the ACC wanted that. They needed to do that because there's a very good chance that they're going to see the game again. And you don't want to see it week 8 and then week 12 or week 13. You want to see that football game played early and then time to let it breathe. I think it's a great showcase game for the ACC. It's a game in all likelihood that College Game Day will be at, I would think. Well, how about this? If Florida State beats LSU, College Game Day will likely be at Clemson. I don't know how that couldn't be. It'd be a top 10 matchup.
They'd have no choice. And even if Florida State, let's say we slip up in the opener against LSU, the first time we would lose in Orlando in program history.
Yeah, we're 10-1 there with a tie to Georgia.
If you did slip up there, but it's a close loss, it's still a top 15 matchup. We're not going to get penalized for losing close to an SEC program and being 2-1.
The winner of the SEC West last year.
Correct. Team that we beat.
Yes. That was the one win against a good team.
You're not going to get thrown out of the top 25 if that game is close and you're edged out by the Bayou Bengals by the time you get to the Tigers. It's
funny. I think we have not had a season that features the kind of anticipation that one feels in way down deep in the cockles the way that we do right now. Like, having this conversation makes me nervous. It's February 1st. And I'm getting a little nervous having the conversation about what is at stake in the season and the expectations. But you want that, man. You got to celebrate that. We haven't had it in a long time. I was nervous when we did W's and L's last year when the schedule came out early. Not because of what was at stake in terms of expectations and a run at a conference title and a playoff spot, but because I was worried that a real good football coach wasn't going to amass enough wins to stick around or to have a chance to stick around long term. And I don't like starting over. Nobody does. Starting from scratch sucks, and I didn't want to have to do that in a year or two if he failed last year. So last year I was nervous for a different set of reasons. This year we're nervous for the right reasons.
And it's something worth reflecting on from last year heading into 2023, which is for the first time in forever, September wasn't a disaster of a month. September's been the worst month in the calendar if you're a Noles football fan since 2014, maybe 2015. I think that year we skated all right in the month of September.
Yeah.
It had been a long damn time. And when we were doing W's and L's, we said if you drop the LSU game, you can't lose the Louisville game. These are the kinds of conversations we were having. You better go 1-1 at minimum in those games to keep all your goals in front of you to hit that 8-win plateau. Mm-hmm. Well, they won both of them, and they got to 9. And sometimes it's simple.
They won both of them in, as from a fan standpoint, excruciating fashion.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I was obviously in the Superdome there and watching that play out and going down onto the field when the block extra point happens, it's insane. And then eventually I did the video with you and Gene afterwards, checking in from the press box, went back up because I had to go down underneath and talk with Coach Norvell, his press conference. By the way, get it together, Superdome. I know you're 100 years old, but we got to do better than that. Just a sidebar bitch fest here. It's in a room smaller than this studio, and it is 150 degrees underneath that stadium.
I don't know that Camping World Stadium has much more infrastructure. I'm really glad that they decided to put these two games at places with infrastructure like that underneath. So good luck if you're going to go down there for the Orlando game. I imagine I'll be doing a post-game show.
I'll be down there I'll be there.
Let us know if it's under 105 in that particular press conference.
Oh, yeah, well, Florida in September. It's not going to be cool. But, I mean, you can't stick it in a room with no ventilation and people were ready to fall out.
They call that the Mike Leach room.
It was something to behold. Anyhow, W's and L's next hour. Oh, we just disappointed some people. That was a running.
Geared up though. We gotta work up to it. This was a good primer though.
I'm very geared up to it. I'm excited about the potential for some surprises. I don't know where you're going with this. I mean, I know that you tend to be a little bit more positive than I do typically. Although, I mean, if we think a team is great, and we thought there have been years where we thought the team was awesome, and we just told people, well, we're going to beat the hell out of a lot of people. But it's been a minute since we thought we were going to beat the hell out of a lot of people.
I tend to be positive year over year. You're correct about that. Last year I was just right. That's the benefit of the 9-3.
Yeah.
However, I would never have put 9-3 on the docket if I knew before the season started
3 straight.
That Bless Harris was gone for the year, and that you didn't have Caden Lyles, who we thought was going to be the center, at least in a 50-50 rotation or a starting guard. If you told me before the season started, guess what? That's going to happen. You're going to lose Jordan for a half. You're going to be trailing when he goes out. And then also Robert Scott's going to miss some time. Fabian Lovett's going to miss 6 games. I would have said, oh, God, get me to 7.
It always happens this way. The season, even when it goes the way that you wanted it to, meaning the record turns out the way that you wanted to, very rarely is the path to that record smooth and easy the way you thought it was going to be. It's filled with ups and downs, and it's filled with surprises. We forget very easily that last year before we played Syracuse, now I did say, even though I thought we'd go 8-4 with a bowl win, getting to 9 wins, but I did not pick 9-3 as you did. And I didn't think, we could get to 10 wins. Great that we did. Did say best case scenario, maybe that happens if you get a couple of bounces.
Should have gotten 10 regular season as it turned out as well.
You look back, the one loss last year that you shake your head at and you say that is really not okay. It's just not okay. It was a bad job all the way around. Was the NC State game. Learning what we did about what NC State went on to be or wasn't. You knock their quarterback out of the game. You get a great effort from for the most part from your defense, and your offense is just incompetent that night, and you really make the kind of blunders that you just simply can't make. And that game is frustrating. But because it's the only one that really stands out as the outlier, where you go, boy, that was just awful. Like F- for all you guys for that one. Every other thing every other game you kind of look at, you're like, look, Clemson's still good. They still have good players. But I will say, ahead of our scheduled W's and L's discussion, I think all of the pressure for this team this year is on this defense. It's on this defensive staff, and it's on this defense to take a big step forward. They have got to be good. And I don't mean good because you're playing bad teams like they were over the final weeks of the season, where they ran roughshod over bad teams that they overwhelmed until they played Florida, who did whatever they wanted to do without their best receivers, and until they played Oklahoma. Meaning, as soon as they saw anybody with a pulse at quarterback, they got lit up. You have 2 games out of your first 4 where you're going to see pretty good quarterback play. You got to be better, man. You got to be better. They can't have their best days of the year against you. And I think the pressure shifts to that defense to be a lot better. Now, I'm also thinking they're equipped to be better. And let's hope everybody is healthier than they were a year ago. We had a lot of guys with either lingering injuries or significant injuries that cost them a big portion of the season. So if you're healthier, obviously you have a chance to fulfill a promise.
I agree with you that if you're just looking generally at the season that's in front of us, there is more pressure on the defense. But I don't think there's no pressure on the offense. I think there's actually some significant pressure because of new forces that are obviously here through the transfer portal, but then also when there is an expectation. I mean, they went up, Gene and I did a video for Warchant TV talking about the comparison in stats. I think Corey's watermark in the offseason was 31.7. I think that was it, 31.7
yeah, he was just looking at points, yeah.
That could get you to 8 wins. Well, they went way beyond that.
Yeah,
they're in the mid to upper 30s. There is a pressure that comes with expectations of scoring 40 a game. And then also, there's only one football. That's going to be the hardest part to me early on in the season is you got so many new weapons. What do you want to be? And is everybody on the same page that if they only get 3 targets this week, they're going to get 9 or 10 the next week? And are they all cool with that?
Yeah, I don't
You got personalities to manage here, and you've got a lot of weapons, a lot of different places that you could almost paralyze yourself by saying we're good at everything. And now you're into the second quarter, you're saying, oh no, what are we trying to do today?
I think the strongest attribute of this coaching staff on offense is their game planning. I feel like they've done a very good job. If we go back and analyze, now they don't always execute, but they've done a very good job with the game plan. And it's one of the things that I have praised them for repeatedly. Mike Norvell is a good play caller, and I also think they game plan well. We featured a lot of different looks game to game. We'll beat you in a variety of ways. If you want to take something away, we got a little something for you. They're versatile. You don't go into games playing to – this isn't the NFL. The prima donna wide receiver that's making $100 million that you got to get the ball to, that will come over and yell at your starting quarterback and his offensive coordinator on the sidelines midway through the second quarter because he's been targeted once. That ain't happening, man. You don't do that in college. It is you game plan based on what the film tells you to do, and if anybody wants to pitch, they can take it on down the road.
Unless they're Kelvin Benjamin.
Well,
or Tamorian.
Well,
or Nooney.
But you don't game plan. You're not like Jimbo wasn't like, oh, well, sorry, I better get him the. No, it didn't work that way. You game plan based on what you can take advantage of utilizing your strengths, your personnel, and their weakness, attacking their weakness. Some weeks it's going to be through the air. It's going to be bombs away. Their pass defense is terrible. We're going to throw it 50 times this weekend. They can't stop it. Other weeks, we're going to run the ball down your throat. And if we have to throw it 25 times, I'll be surprised. That they did that week to week. I don't think that changes. I think, if anything, they just have more options. And you do have, I know where you're going, but I would tell you this. You do have to have maybe a discussion. Like, you can calmly have the discussion with guys. Like, guys, hey, look, it's based on the tape. It's based on what they're bad at and what we're good at. And one week, it may be you, or it could be you the next week. This is about winning football games. We're all here to win football games.
Well, it's also incumbent upon the quarterback to be able to handle those discussions too, and say, look, if you're open, I'll find you, but I'm not going to force anything your way, because look at all the talent that's around you. But you've got to have that from the top down.
And you saw it a year ago. They did a good job with it, meaning the guys that didn't get the ball certain weeks, they didn't complain. I mean, I thought Micah was really good about this.
If you have 2 3-and-outs and an empty possession in a 3-possession string, let's say, so you go 3-and-out, and then a couple first downs, punt, 3-and-out. That's a totally different feeling this year, in this upcoming season, than it was last. You're on the way up last year. So when production happens and Jordan plays well and he throws from the pocket and he does all these things, that's the discovery process, and that's all warm and fuzzy.
Mm-hmm.
But now if you have 3 consecutive empty possessions at any point this season, there's a different feeling in the air at Doak or on the road where you're saying, what's wrong with the offense? So you just got to be able to manage all these things a little bit differently. They may be exactly the same, the scenarios, but they're going to feel different because there's more pressure on us to go execute, to go win the ACC, to go make the playoff. So you just got to be able to handle that. And that's something that I think you guys talked about on Headlines, which is the stage. You've now been on that stage.
And you've handled it well.
But you're going to have to live it for 12 in a row.
That's why you work so hard to put yourself in a position to play meaningful games where there's a lot on the line and a lot of pressure to perform well. And, you go through the day-to-day minutia. You go through the tough stuff that people don't see, all the workouts and the eating habits and getting the rest and staying away from that party so that you're in best, all that stuff, so that you can play that game and showcase the best of you and showcase the best of us in this collective, is what you say. And to me, that's the most exciting part, where you build it to a place where now it's time to shine. And I think the best coaches are able to kind of present that picture to guys. You don't look at it as, we have to do this. It's, we get to do this. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
We understand how important it is to have transportation you can rely on. So no matter what the road ahead brings, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for over 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise.
I'm Andy Cohen with Florida Farm Bureau Insurance. Please call me at 850-671-FARM.
This is Patty Wilson.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're ready?
He's recording.
Why are you always saying your last name? It's Patty and Scott. Everybody knows
know that.
Patty and Scott.
I don't know, because this is Patty Wilson. Not this is. I am Patty Wilson.
What is the idea behind said promo?
It's for Patty's Playhouse. We're on Patty's Playhouse Saturdays at 11. Tune in. That's stupid. Just tune in. Saturdays at 11. Patty Wilson, Patty's Playhouse. House talk with a happy ending.
Each and every time.
Hey everybody, the perfect fireplace makes your house a home. How's your fireplace looking? Not too well? Hearth and Patio can help you with that. Actually, Hearth and Patio can help you with anything fire. Give my friends a call at Hearth and Patio. If you need new fireplace upgrade, fireplace repair, you need custom outdoor kitchen, grills, or an amazing fireplace for your backyard. 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282. Or you can visit them online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Hearth Patio Tallahassee. They keep the home fires burning.
When you need a plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to have to wait?
Yeah, hey, it's the Millers again. Just calling you about our little plumbing problem.
2 hours?
Hey, we were hoping you can get here soon because the water is getting really bad. I mean, please hurry.
4 hours?
I know you said you were on your way, but, honey, tell the kids to tread water.
8 hours?
Don't worry about us. We're fine.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service right when you need it. At M&L Plumbing, we listen to our customers, and our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing, your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or visit us online at mandlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
Do you have taxiety? That uncertain feeling knowing taxes are due and you don't know what to do. You're afraid getting help may cost you big bucks and your sanity. Let the Liberty Tax experts show you a brighter way to do taxes. With us, you can get professional tax prep with zero out-of-pocket charges. Visit libertytax.com and schedule an appointment with a Liberty Tax location near you. Valid at participating locations. Terms and conditions apply. See website or office for details.
Retired or retiring soon? How much money do you need to live comfortably? Retirement Planners of America is here for you. Would you like to have financial peace of mind? Here's how. Step 1. Find out the amount of money you'll need to retire. Step 2, have a plan to get there. Step 3, make sure that plan can take advantage of market gains but protect you from market losses. Discover how to do all three with a free consultation at 800-508-6108. That's 800-508-6108.
All investments involve risk, including losses. Past performance does not guarantee future results.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
I did like the quote from Patrick Surtain, who said, I know all of the kids in South Florida. They know me and they know the job I've done. And that's confidence. Good. Well, we should see some home runs there in recruiting. Last year during the season, whenever we talked about recruiting or coaching in general, where there's changes that I wanted to see, happen, I mentioned a certain secondary coach. He's no longer on the staff. The new one is in. I think sky's the limit for him. I think that was a home run hire. There will be another coach that I will have a close eye on this upcoming year. And I'm already 2 fingers to my eyes, 2 fingers back to him. We had a recruiting nugget yesterday that came out. Yeah, that seems about right. So let's see if another coach maybe finds another home in the not too distant future. But that's okay. We just one step at a time, Tom.
You're like I know you would never watch one of these, but you're like a Marvel superhero movie because you've had like the main plot, which is there was a coach you were looking at, and then there's the post credits scene.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm looking at you, and it cuts off. The lights come on in the theater, and people are like, "Oh my God, there's another one!"
Oh, yeah, there'll be another one. All right. I would have gone there already, but I'm just saying, hey, we'll get there. He'll get there. Baby steps. Tom Brady's retired for good this time around. No dramatic press conference or long-winded affair, but rather him sitting on a beach somewhere saying, peace, I'm out. It's been good. Fine, efficient. I will say this.
If it's real.
I think it's real. I don't think he's coming back. I think it was somewhat revelatory for us all in that last game when my man was afraid to get hit. You gotta have to call it a day when you're actually scared to get hit.
I think that was more than just that last game too. There were a couple, like the Cincinnati game was a great example of my man flushing the pocket like he's a rookie who doesn't know what he's looking at. And that was not because he didn't know what he was looking at. He was, the hell with this.
I'm not getting hit. You get to be 45 years old and it's a young man's game.
Listen here, Gedeke.
You guys can't block for blank.
Listen here, Donovan Smith. I'm going to make it to my 80s.
Turnstile, Donovan Smith. that bum can take it on down the road. But not surprising. I thought if he was going to play again, that maybe he would make a go of it with San Francisco, which has a very good offensive line, a legitimate rushing attack, an all-world tight end, multiple weapons on the outside that you could utilize if you wanted to play and make a go of one more run at a potential Super Bowl berth. To me, that would have been the place for him. Maybe coming back to Tampa if they could solidify the offensive line, but this is the better decision. When I'm at my age, having seen a lot of really good football players, for that matter, athletes in general, stay beyond their welcome, it's always uncomfortable. Whether you like the athlete or not is irrelevant if we acknowledge that that particular player has been one of the 3 or 4 best players at their position of all time. And I've gotten to see a lot of those guys, whether it's Joe Montana or John Elway or Dan Marino or Tom Brady or whomever, right? When they stick around and they're a shell of themselves, it's uncomfortable for everybody. Nobody likes that. It reminds me of my dad talking about Willie Mays wandering around in the outfield with the Mets, and you're like, oh.
Cost us the 73 series.
You're just like, no, that can't happen. He's the greatest center fielder of all time. You can't be out there struggling to catch a fly ball. Ugh, gives me the willies. And I remember when you see certain guys in certain uniforms, too, even though we ended up being wrong about Emmitt Smith, he had a good run in Arizona, despite the fact that it looked sacrilegious for him to be in an Arizona Cardinals uniform. I remember when he first did it, I was like, no, you can't. I don't even have to like the Cowboys, but you can't be on another team. You are synonymous. I just don't. Whenever you see that, it's troubling. So I'm glad we're not watching this dude bounce around the way Brett Favre did at the end. 2 stops. New England, and then a Super Bowl championship and 2 division titles in Tampa Bay, and I'm out.
Yeah, the video of him, I posted that today on Twitter because it's just, it didn't feel like the most personal stay in Tampa, but it was a productive stay in Tampa. You know, like I don't get the warm and fuzzies when I talk about Tom Brady. That's not going to be his role with Tampa.
No.
But I get warm and fuzzy about blowing out the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. That'll feel good. And that was a collective effort. In a way, I actually fell in love with Gronk more than I did Brady.
Because you saw just how dominant, when he's healthy, how dominant a player he really was. I mean, that is the true essence of a dual threat. When he stayed in and blocked, he dominated people. I mean, he was brutal when he got his hands on people. And then, of course, we know what he was as a pass catcher and all that other stuff. I mean, you talk about safety blanket.
But that video of him chucking the Lombardi trophy across, they're doing the boat parade. Yeah. That's literally what he did for Tampa. He's on the boat to greatness in the Hall of Fame. He's like, hey, by the way, here's something for you on the way out.
Yeah.
And it's just to these random bystanders who are like, yeah, thank you. That. That was Tampa, and that's Brady.
I look at it as an organizational win in the same way that you do, because the pieces were all there. They had to get a quarterback. I remember our heated debate over whether or not if it's Tom, and we agreed on this part of it. Like, you wanted Jameis back, and my heart tugged there to have Jameis back. I thought there were a number of factors that really wind up against Jameis. But when we found out it could be Brady, you had to be all in, because you knew that there was A, still something in the tank, and B, the pieces were in place to win a Super Bowl. You just needed a quarterback who didn't turn the football over.
Yeah, I think if Jameis had come back, and I'll get to the main reason why I was okay with Brady coming beyond, his pedigree. If Jameis came back, the window would have been extended. They wouldn't have spent so much money so quickly. So this would have been a 5 or 6 year run at being really good, I think. Because even the likes of Carson Palmer, who was my favorite person to quote at the time, said, in Bruce Arians' system, look at everybody's first year.
They're all awful. Yeah, they turn it over, and then they get so much better.
Look at the second year. Like, this is coming for him. He's already found the good. He's just got to eliminate the bad. They didn't have a running game. They didn't have a defense. So situationally, he had to go do everything.
Yeah.
And it fit the bill. 30-30 is a little much, but it fit the bill.
A little much.
The reason that I was in favor of the Brady move the most, Tom asked for less money than Jameis did.
He asked for less money.
Cost less money than Jameis Winston did.
Right, so it was a no-brainer at that point.
I mean,
and we first guessed that when Jameis's crew went in and asked for that $25 million.
We were like, 30 plus.
We were like, guys, that ain't happening. Secondly, it wasn't just that he took less money and is a better quarterback, but that's not a knock on Jameis. He's a better quarterback than any other quarterback that's ever lived. The other part of that was we thought he'd bring Gronk.
Yeah.
He brought Gronk with him. And so once you're changing your team.
And you get a couple of veterans to stick around longer were ready to ride.
Yeah.
So
chance to win a Super Bowl, they're going to stick around. You're right.
Right. And you get, you get Sue for a couple of years, and because he stayed an extra year, and we were close to going back to the Super Bowl in year 2. It shortened the window, and what it did was it put the onus on, you better come home with the giant pot in the middle of the poker table, and we did. So there you go.
That's the other reason I look at it as collectively, it'll be a fond memory. It's less about the man and more about the process of building to a place where you drafted exceptionally well. You got it right. I mean, you got to give Jason Light a lot of credit. Most of those guys were homegrown guys, drafted, developed. And then when you saw you had a window, you went and got a couple pieces and said, here we go, we make a go of it. That's what every team does. That's the goal, is you build it up through the draft. And then if you find out you're weak here, and here, but you have the money to go get here, and here in, make that run. The problem with it is when you do it, you end up where the Bucs are now, which is well over the salary cap. But that's okay, because you say to yourself, we're going to ante up and we have to win. The Saints anteed up and they didn't win. And now they're stuck. They're going to suck for a long, long time. Tragic. The Falcons anteed up and they didn't win. They blew a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl.
It was almost like the freeze was behind them in a foot race.
Yeah.
And the freeze was Tom Brady and the Patriots.
And so when they failed in that situation, inexplicably up 28-3, the window closed, and that was that.
It was just a little
tragic
stumble.
Indeed.
It was just a little stumble.
Enough for the freeze to get there.
And then the crowd went, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah. So if you're going to do it, if you're going to go all in, you got to be able to double middle finger to the rest of the league, and that is in the form of a Super Bowl championship. And the Bucs did.
Can I say I'm just so proud? This is a moment to mark down for director. The first time, first time you said double middle finger,
and which I didn't actually do it,
and not do it to Warchant TV.
Yeah.
I hope it's the only time. I prefer it the other way, actually.
Yeah, no, that was, it makes me smile. It makes me smile. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The Georgia Bureau of Investigation has identified 24-year-old.
What's up, guys? Our next partner that you're going to hear from is Athletic Greens. You've heard me talk about Athletic Greens in the past. Happy to talk about them again. I take Athletic Greens every day. And I gave them a try because certainly I wanted more energy, sustained energy. I wanted to support my immune system. I don't like taking pills and vitamins per se. And I wanted something that tasted good too. And the first time I tried it, I was very surprised. It had an appreciable effect on my energy levels. And also, over time, you'll note that it helps your skin, your hair, your nails. I don't have a lot of hair, but if I did, I bet I could feel that. I bet I could tell. It's a comprehensive health habit, and it is a powerful one at that. AG1 is great for recovery. That's Athletic Greens. And I take mine basically when I wake up every morning. I don't have to worry about it because you get all the nutrients that you want. It's the best way to ensure that you're going to get all of your vitamins. It's a carbon neutral business, by the way, if that's important to you. It is to a lot of people, and that's good to know as well. I would also note that it is a comprehensive solution to what you need from a supplement routine. Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs right now with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/JCS. Helps me out, guys, if you use that. Not financially, but it lets them know that you heard this ad on my show. And I do take it, and I am vouching for them because I enjoy their product. It's athleticgreens.com/JCS. Check it out. I think you'll note the difference in your life with a simple drink each and every morning to start your day. athleticgreens.com/JCS.
322-2567 or visit thelonjohns.com.
My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space. You got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
slow burn.
Slow little burn.
This thing's just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Hey, Greg Tish here along with
Matty Rowe.
And you can listen to us Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Real Talk 93.3. Matt, we give away a couple things each week.
Just a few.
We got the Florida Farm Bureau Insurance Wheel of Food. We have Give Me a Second, where we play a second of a song and you guess that song. And we also play FLA or Nay. We have a lot of fun Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on
The Greg Tish Show.
Think that's enough?
We could talk about our feelings.
There's a lot.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
Total. They've never played it. I'm going to yell it out this next time. Hey, man, come on. I love that song. It's just it's a wreck of a song.
So the off night, they usually get a pretty good band, and the second time it was Spoon. And all I wanted to hear, and they've got a lot of great music.
Yeah,
they do.
Yeah.
But all I wanted to hear was Cherry Bomb. And I was talking, all my friends were like, I can't wait for Cherry Bomb tonight.
Didn't play it.
Got your Cherry Bomb. And then they left. They came for the encore, and somebody a friend of mine, goes, they're going to play Cherry Bomb. I just know it. And they didn't.
But alas.
Nobody got their Cherry Bomb.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's a perfect conversation that we're having here today because it's Mr. Linnefeld's birthday.
It is. Yes.
Happy birthday, Tim Linnefeld. One of the good guys. 6 Super Bowl wins. I'm moving on from this. I just want to talk about.
Oh, my God.
I know. Can you believe it? 6 Super Bowl wins for Brady, and ends his career as the NFL's leader in passing. 89,214 yards. That's a goal. You're a youngin' coming into the league. That's a goal. Touchdown passes, 649 of them. 3-time league MVP. 4,694 yards, third most in NFL history. Passing yards. Yeah, leader career passing yards. Yeah, and then it's nuts. He was third most in the league this year at 4,694 yards.
Just one quick note. He did have 6 Super Bowls with the Patriots, but he had one more, the most important Super Bowl of his career.
Yeah.
Which was to prove for his own legacy and for the city of Tampa that in the Belichick versus Brady argument,
it's Brady.
It was about Brady.
By the way, so 7 Super Bowl victories, having been to 10. He was the MVP. Yeah, 10. 10 Super Bowls. That is insane. Somewhere along the way, we stopped arguing about it. Not you and me. Like, there was a time in there at 4, maybe, where we're like, well,
That's the closest thing to the Jack Nicklaus winning and runner-up at majors record I've ever heard of. Because Jack's runners-up is like another 14.
19.
It's
insane.
So there's 37 times in major championship history he was in first or second.
Yeah.
Well, Tom Brady's been to 10 Super Bowls, won 7 of them. It's the same kind of thing. You go, that's just dumb.
Man. That is, it's hard to fathom getting to that game that many times. And then, of course, having the success that he did 7 times, won the MVP of the Super Bowl several times, too. It's a trophy room. That's one for the ages. What do you do with your time when you are the greatest to ever do it in anything? Like, money's not an issue. What do you do? A lot of people are speculating that what will happen next, the next announcement we're going to get, is him in the broadcast booth for like $300 million from Fox or ESPN. Is that already done?
Yeah.
Already done?
So it was an agreement in place that whenever he retires, he's going to collect $37 million a year to do broadcasting.
You know, who am I to say that you can walk away from $37 million a year? But I would tell you that if I made in the neighborhood of, I don't know, $1 billion in the course of my career, somewhere close between salary and endorsements and everything else, maybe I'd take a couple years off. Maybe I'd walk away from football just to see who the hell I am outside of football. Go wander the earth. Go be Ricky. Go do something different, man.
Ricky Williams?
Yeah.
I wonder, though, because it's whenever he's ready, so he could take a year.
Wouldn't you?
I would. I'd also try and find some, I don't know. He's going to have to find a way to be interesting on television, and I just worry that he doesn't have the makeup to do it.
I agree.
Unless he's going to be cold and dry and brutal. If he's that guy,
that'll be awesome.
He can do it.
Well, and you're allowed to do it if you got the chops, meaning if you have the credentials. Like, one of the reasons Johnny Miller could say what he did is he was a multi-time major champion, and he won a bunch of tournaments, and he was a great player, and he authored one of the all-time greatest rounds of golf under the most amount of pressure at the U.S. Open that has ever been seen. So if you do that, if you shoot a 63 on a Sunday to hawk down the leaders at a U.S. Open, well, then you can say about somebody that they choked because you know what it is to perform under pressure. And you get away with it, but you have to be willing to do it. And most former players in any sport aren't willing to throw out their fellow players because they know how much hard work goes into it and all of that. But you have to be able to separate that. You have to be able to say, look, it's just a performance. It's not personal.
Yeah, Aikman is actually the closest to doing that on a consistent basis.
Yes.
Romo never does. I don't think Olsen's got it in him. Olsen will criticize clock management. He's done it every broadcast, I think, since he's been along on Fox. And I would expect to see that in the Super Bowl. But I think, is it Aikman at the present time who's the closest to being brutal? He just gets pissed off. And I like that about Troy. Like, well, that's just dumb. You know, it's essentially what he's saying.
You should be able to say it. You really should. You ought to be able to say, you know, if you have the kind of credentials that he does, which is insane. If anybody can criticize quarterback play in the booth, it would be him. But I don't know. Most of these guys don't. They're too nice. Over time, maybe the further removed they get from the game, they're better at it. Like if you are 2 and 3 and 4 years removed from a huddle, it might get a little bit easier because you know fewer players. But when you are former teammates with a lot of these guys, or certainly played against them and know them really well, it gets harder and harder to do. As for what the Bucs do, and some of you brought this up, yeah, I mean the Bucs are going to obviously have to start over, and this is where it gets difficult. You have to make tough decisions now. Now you have to make decisions that hurt feelings. Now you have to start talking about who on this team that is still very, very, very productive, but won't be here or be productive 3 years from now if we're good again. On the other end of a rebuild, Mike Evans. Who can you really? There are guys, I believe, that are franchise guys that you almost grandfather in and say, okay, we got to pay him.
Yeah. I think he's the one.
He's probably the one.
He's the best offensive player in the history of the franchise. You got to let him ride it out.
It's tough, though, man, because that's the other thing I hate watching is overpaid guys. And I'm not griping about people's money. You know, I don't reach into people's pockets. What I'm saying is if you are paid like the best receiver in the league and you're the 27th best receiver in the league because your play is diminishing by the hour, I really have a hard time watching that without thinking terrible things, and I don't like to do that. I hate that, but that's what happens when you watch guys drop a ton of passes and get slow.
The thing is with Mike, he's still got the get off of the line of scrimmage that's elite, and if you've got accuracy down the field, which Brady largely did not this year, then he's good for another 1,200 yards and 8 to 10 touchdowns. Even if he's one of your only pieces in the offense, I can't imagine they're bringing Godwin back. Although that's going to be a fun circumstance to watch this sorry-ass division. But Todd Bowles doesn't want to rebuild, and I think the Bucs need to rebuild.
The only way the problem is now you got Kyle Trask, and he can't. I mean, he doesn't even dress half the time. So obviously they know he can't play. So what I would tell you though is, do you wear this ass kicking coming to you when you roll him out there? Because I would. If I'm embracing a rebuild, which Todd Bowles like, no, you can't do that to me. I'm going to get fired. I'm not worried about you.
It's his second stop. Well, that's the problem. He's the coach. It's his second stop. This is it.
Yeah, but here's what I would tell you. If I'm the owner or if I'm the GM and I understand our cap situation and I understand the quarterback market is awful this year, all of these kids coming out can go to hell. I don't want any of them. I don't want Levis. I don't want any of them. They stink. So here's the deal. I'm waiting until Caleb Williams comes out the following year, and now I've got my guy. So I'll roll Kyle Trask out there to take that ass kicking. We'll lose 15 games minimum, and then I'm drafting Caleb Williams with the first pick overall.
You'll get your wish for one of these guys because they're going to Houston. So one of them's going to hell. As for the rest of them, I don't know.
I don't want any of them. The best one, the one who's the most talented, is $130. I can't trust that he's going to survive, let alone prosper.
Who are you talking about? Bennett?
Alabama.
Oh, Bryce.
Bryce is $130. He's a tiny little dude. You saw what happened to the other Alabama tiny little dude. He's walking around, doesn't know where he is. Hurt hourly. Dolphins are stuck with his ass. You're like, well, damn it. We knew he was tiny and injury riddled, and now look at him. Stumble around in the dark. It's a toughie. W's and L's next hour. Hang in. This right now, and you or someone you know is active military, a veteran, police officer, firefighter, nurse, or a teacher, turn up the volume and listen to this. My friend Shannon with Legendary Home Loans has a hometown hero loan program designed to make a difference to those who make a difference. When it's time to buy a new home, he will waive all lender fees for all hometown heroes. That's a $1,600 value right out of the gate. Also, if you decide to use their preferred title company for their closing, you'll be saving another $600. That's $2,200 in discounts right off the top. That's like 20 tanks of gas in your car. And today, more than ever, it's important to save as much money as you can, wherever you can. So if you or someone you know is active military, veteran, police officer, firefighter, nurse, or a school teacher, and looking to buy a new home, choose Shannon Young, Legendary Home Loans, and ask about their Hometown Heroes program. Call 844-FSU-LOAN or just visit FSUHomeLoans.com. That's FSUHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 2270146.
Tallahassee's favorite family-owned Apple and Mac product store has moved to an all-new location. Mac & More Systems is now located at 230 John Knox Road. Same great people, same great services, same great prices, all at a new location. Mac & More offers computer and Apple device sales, one-on-one consulting, business services, and the most experienced Apple repair team in the city. Learn how to get the most out of your Apple gear. Come by and say hi to the Mac & More Systems team today at their new location, 230 John Knox Road.
Hey, this is Greg Tish. Here's something you might know about me. I don't drink coffee. I have never had a cup of coffee in my life. Well, that is until now. So why change now? Well, it's because my dear friend at Grassroots Coffee reached out to me after hearing me say that and insisted that I give his product a try. I've been making a huge mistake. The world of coffee is fascinating. I always thought coffee is coffee, you know? No, it's not. I have tried their coffee and it is fantastic. Now, I've got a fascination with learning more about the best coffee in our area. Grassroots Coffee is locally roasted, locally owned, and locally loved. You can find whole bean Grassroots Coffee on the local aisle at Publix, also in Whole Foods. But the best way to get this black gold is to order it online. They literally grind the fresh roasted beans to your preferred level, bag it, write the date on it by hand so you know the exact day your coffee was roasted. It doesn't get any more fresh than that. Order yours now. Just go to grassrootscoffee.com and choose the coffee you want and how you want it. And join me. Let's step up our coffee game together and also support a great local business.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Gretna, Tallahassee.
The latest betting odds and line movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
Super Bowl line movement. The Philadelphia Eagles bet down to a 1.5 favorite against the Chiefs. 49.5 the total. And Super Bowl 57 coming up February the 12th at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. College basketball today, it's number 2 Tennessee, a 5.5-point favorite at Florida. 133 the total at the O'Connell Center. The Gators have won 5 of their last 6 SEC games. NC State laying 9 at home at Florida State, 151.5 the total at PNC Arena. The Wolfpack have won 11 of 12 at home. The NBA, the Philadelphia 76ers laying 8.5 at home against the Orlando Magic. Sign up now for your free VSiN subscription at vsin.com/subscribe. For more sports betting news and information, go to vsin.com. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
From Brent Musburger, and this is Take One, and away we go.
The best way to start betting smarter is to sign up for a free VSiN subscription at vsin.com/subscribe. Plus, when you sign up today, you'll automatically be entered to win a free VSiN Pro annual subscription, a $240 value. Sign up for your free VSiN subscription today at vsin.com/subscribe.
And that's a wrap.
Every day, Sellers makes life a little better for homeowners, helping them find the best design ideas for their homes with the best quality tile, carpet, and hardwood flooring. Even mosaics, ceramic, and vinyl solutions are at their fingertips in their remarkable showroom. Maybe it's time for you to get the Sellers advantage for your home or office. Find them on Capitol Circle Northeast, just north of Mahan Drive, or online at sellerstile.com. For style, quality, and design, get the Sellers advantage. In Tallahassee, call 656-8453.
My man Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space. You got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying.
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
TV. Make sure you celebrate that fact, like it, subscribe, pass it around, do all the good things. Do all the things, man. W's and L's are coming up. W's and L's coming up. You excited? Nervous? You feel the nerves? You got a little bit of nerves in you? This has become a thing.
Yeah, there's always a little bit of butterflies with the first W's and L's of the season, or of the calendar year, I guess is probably the best way to put it.
So I have to tell you this. I don't know that everybody understands this. We do not discuss W's and L's, you and I, before we do them, ever, because we want it to be impromptu. We don't want it to be scripted. It isn't scripted. That's what we do. We wait. And I'm going to take it a step further and reveal something else. Now, I don't know if you are this way, but I think you are. I know I am. I don't think about it until the schedule is in front of me and we're doing the segment. I don't even look, because look, we just saw the schedule. Now, obviously, when the schedule came out, you have an opinion about that. We did an entire show, on Warchant TV the night it came out on Monday. So, yeah, I mean, when we saw what it was in real time, then you have an opinion about it. I mean, I guess you can't help but say, oh, well, LSU and Orlando, what do you think? Southern Miss and BC after that. Oh, look at that. We got Clemson in week 4 on the road. We did all those things, but I haven't really broke down the rosters and thought in-depthly about these teams. For example, Djokovic left BC, took it on down the road to Pitt. That's an upgrade. Pitt's going to be in a good situation there. Djokovic, with time, is a good football player. He's a good quarterback. He got overwhelmed when he was at BC, just steady taking ass beatings because they couldn't block anybody.
Yeah, he hates playing us.
Yeah, he's been overwhelmed against us. But now maybe Pitt will be capable, and maybe that game in early November, not late November, will be a tougher matchup than we realize. It's things like that where you start to vet the rosters. And, we know, for example, Wake Forest lost a ton off that team from a year ago. And not just the quarterback. Everybody knows the quarterback. But their defensive line manhandled our offensive line. They really did a good job against our offensive line last year. That was probably the more disappointing aspect of what happened, was that our offensive line got bullied in that game in the first half. They lost most of those guys. So their drop-off should be significant, whereas maybe Pitt's drop-off is not as significant because they got an upgrade at quarterback.
Well, we're vetting it a little bit here. I'd say that I look at the rundown. I have an idea of where I'm going before we have W's and L's. Certainly not rehearsed or anything like that. And what happens is you get into the heat of the moment and there's almost an inspiration that it's like a charge through the atmosphere in the studio, and you might change your mind on a game on the fly. So if you're picking first and you say something, I go, I was going to put W the whole way here, but it's an L, or vice versa. This was my L, for September. I thought they were going to lose this game. No, by God, they're going to win it. They're going to win that football game.
We do reserve the right to change our W's and L's. I mean, in our lifetime of doing W's and L's on the JCS, there have been special moments in which one of us thought the team was going to lose 6 games, and then the next time we did W's and L's, 50 days later, we were like, no, you know what? I've reconsidered. That's a win, and that's a win. That's a 4-loss team or a 3-loss team. It changes. It especially changes after the spring when you've seen the guys come into camp and the competition begins, and you see somebody's got a lot bigger, a lot stronger. Somebody's gotten to a place where they're a better player than they were a year ago just through the physical workouts and the nutrition. Other times you see guys recovering from an injury, and you're like, ooh, he's still not right. He's not even close to where we need him to be. I was counting on him to start. He can't even walk. This is not good. So you do change your opinions once spring happens.
I remember, and it's amazing how long ago it is now, but 13, 14 years ago when you and Matt Millar would do W's and L's. I think for a couple of those years, from 09 to 12, you might have done it once a month. I think it was. I think
we would check in on it. I can't remember, but we did.
It was a 3-hour show, so I could understand that once a month. But I think the minimum amount that you could do Florida State W's and L's, because we'll do them. There'll be a day where we just say, throw a team at us.
Yeah.
Throw a team.
Oh, we had fun with that. Yeah.
It's at minimum 3. It's when the schedule comes out. It's after spring, and then the final submission before the season starts.
Bare minimum 3. I think we tend to do 4 or 5. Yeah. Because they're dog days of summer. They're tough times rolling on in here in freaking May.
Maybe in freaking May, we can designate a W's and L's day. And it's just in the chat, throw a team at us. We'll pull up the schedule. We'll go at it.
Solving the future. It'll be our friends at ISF.
The whole day.
We're solving Duke's future. Here we go. Yeah, man. We have done that a lot. It's called freaking May, by the way. It's what it says. Freaking May. Hot as Hades. Nothing going on. You're devastated. Kids are about to get out of school.
Sir, may I remind you that the PGA Championship is now going on in the month of May,
which I love.
Glory's second shot.
You do realize Sawgrass is coming up, buddy. We got to get our ass over there. A little TPC action.
Es posible.
Yeah. I'm excited about it.
Sawgrass, one magical week in Greensboro.
We're not
be a close one.
Florida State basketball doesn't exist. So we have all the time in the world to go over there and look. I mean, I could mention that
your phone's ringing in 3, 2.
This season, I'm putting Florida State basketball on the back burner. That's all I'm saying. Especially after what just happened Saturday against Clemson at the TLC Double C. You want me to preview the at NC State game? PNC Arena in Raleigh, North Carolina, televised tonight on the ACC network beginning at 9 o'clock.
Home of the Carolina Hurricanes.
You're going to stay up to 9 o'clock to watch that tip against NC State, who's 17-5, by the way, 7-4 in the ACC. We, however, are 5-6 in the ACC and 7-15.
We're currently in a situation where when you go into the contacts list and you find Ding Ding and you give them a call, it went straight to voicemail and you're thinking,
hey,
oh,
it's the Ding Ding.
You know
Leave
what?
a message.
Yes, there it is. Must have been the circuits got tied. So let me try again. That happens sometimes.
Yeah. And
then they go straight to voicemail again.
Oh, the Ding Ding's got us on straight to voicemail.
Mm-hmm.
The Ding Ding's voicemail would have to be the sound of him lighting a cigarette before he speaks into the microphone. Hey, it's the Ding Ding. I'll get back to you. Yeah, that's it. That's him. All right, so I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to break down Jaquavion Smith and Casey Morsel and those guys at NC State. Don't need to. A, it's college basketball, which is not very riveting, and B, we're terrible. So there it is, just like that. We're moving along. You ready? You want to do this now?
This segment? Right here?
We could take an early break, and then we could come back and fire up the liner, which I miss.
I got to do some stretches, you know?
I remember
W's and L's requires you to be limber.
I remember the day we did W's and L's like it was yesterday in terms of the sounder.
Oh, yeah.
Wins. Losses.
A lot of laughs around the studio.
We were all cracking up. And then we cracked up when we did Lewin. Yeah, we did. It's been a minute since we did the Lewin Career Forecaster.
Should that get rolled back out in 2023?
We should do the Lewin Career Forecaster again for these quarterbacks.
It can't be quarterbacks, though.
Oh, let's do it.
Because I believe there was one sounder that said go to hell, which we just
which was funny.
I think there literally was. He's laughing over here, director. But there was.
Remember, the line was, the Lewin Career Forecaster loves Bridgewater.
Yeah.
That was just because of the numbers game. Remember, That's what it was.
Love Bridgewater. You like Glennon. And then I forget who you didn't like. We'd have to go dig that up.
But it was based on the formula. It was nothing about my opinion of those quarterbacks. It was the formula, the Lewin Career Forecaster, which was based on that stupid equation that guy came up with. Number of starts, number of pass attempts, something completion percent. There was like 4 things that guy plugged into. That's why we came up with it. It was this guy had a career forecaster based on this formula.
Yeah.
And it was ridiculous.
And we did dabble into the coach forecaster briefly with Lewin 2.0.
We should bring back Lewin to do coach forecasting. Because the interesting thing about coach forecasting as well as quarterback forecasting, we now know that it's a crapshoot when it comes to quarterbacks. We all think we know, and they all think they know, and none of them do. They back into getting it right sometimes, but it's not like some great foresight. Like statistically speaking, it is. It's a 50-50 proposition on these quarterbacks for the most part. And even if a guy has had a stellar career and meets all of the criteria, 6'5", can run, has a cannon for an arm, did a great job of reading defenses pre-snap, completed 68% of his passes in college, like every number that tells you he's going to be a success, you're like, we'll see. I don't know. It doesn't. It's bizarre. And then there are guys like Jalen Hurts. There was no way, no how. And he wasn't any good his first couple of years. You're like, this is about what I thought. And now look at the guy. in the right situation, the right place with the right players, he is more than just productive. He's become very, very good.
Which makes Lamar Jackson, who had held out, I think. I don't know what the injury stuff was, if it honestly
Oh, no, he just was withholding services, yes.
But he's already won league MVP.
Yeah.
They had a couple of nip and tuck games that didn't go their way in the postseason.
No.
But you would be more apt as a general manager to give him the open market contract he's looking for, because you're seeing success other places. It's not like it's the Lamar Jackson experiment and then everybody else has pocket passers. That Jalen Hurts is succeeding the way that the Philadelphia Eagles are succeeding, explosiveness plus dual threat, means that if you had the cap space, and the Bucs don't, but if you had the cap space, Lamar would be an interesting conversation to have.
You had to change your offense, though.
Sure.
So you'd go about the process of starting over.
But that was sacrilege in the NFL. We always thought that was dumb.
Thank goodness we've come a long way. I mean, thank goodness we've come a long way with that. It was boring. It was cookie cutter. You weren't allowed to win the way that these guys are now winning. Like, it couldn't be done. Nobody would do it. And for a while, it didn't happen because those guys got the hell beat out of them. CRG3 and others. But the league has come around, which is a good thing. I like the diversity of offenses and different looks. You can still win championships. And in fact, you're more apt to win championships still with a pocket passer, but it's nice to have the mobility.
Because teams have personalities. That's the other reason that college basketball sucks.
Yeah. Well, you're not allowed to develop personalities anymore in college
so many
basketball.
one and done.
Yeah,
so you don't get the villains and you don't get the heroes to
Well,
develop, and you don't get
that's
those,
correct.
The coaches used to be a little bit more
the characters of the game
around the spectrum. You had all kinds of coaches, different styles, but then their teams took on their personality. Duke was always...
Well, that's why people hated Christian Laettner. He was there forever. And you had time to learn how much you could hate somebody. He was also really good.
And Coach K had a bunch of spoiled brats. What do you know?
But you did that with every team. And that in college basketball is really missing out on that. I mean, the run and gun stuff that you had. I mean, listen, Phi Slamma Jamma with Houston, going all the way back to that NC State Houston game we were just talking about the other day. UNLV and Tark and those guys. It was so fun. I mean, you had Fab Five. You had contrasting styles, and you did have time in a lot of those situations because guys, even if they were good, stuck around for 3 years, 4 years. In some cases, you don't have that now. All right, so what it will be, I've drug it out. You're right, guys. Long enough. W's and L's coming up next. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. What's up, guys? Our next partner that you're going to hear from is Athletic Greens. You've heard me talk about Athletic Greens in the past. Happy to talk about them again. I take Athletic Greens every day, and I gave them a try because certainly I wanted more energy, sustained energy. I wanted to support my immune system. I don't like taking pills and vitamins per se, and I wanted something that tasted good too. And the first time I tried it, I was very surprised. It had an appreciable effect on my energy levels, and also over time, you'll note that it helps your skin, your hair, your nails. I don't have a lot of hair, but if I did, I bet I could feel that. I bet I could tell. It's a comprehensive health habit, and it is a powerful one at that. AG1 is great for recovery. That's Athletic Greens. And I take mine basically when I wake up every morning. I don't have to worry about it because you get all the nutrients that you want. It's the best way to ensure that you're going to get all of your vitamins. It's a carbon-neutral business, by the way, if that's important to you. It is to a lot of people, and that's good to know as well. I would also note that it is a comprehensive solution to what you need from a supplement routine. Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs right now with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/JCS. Helps me out, guys, if you use that. Not financially, but it lets them know that you heard this ad on my show. And I do take it, and I am vouching for them because I enjoy their product. It's athleticgreens.com/JCS. Check it out. I think you'll note the difference in your life with a simple drink each and every morning to start your day. athleticgreens.com/JCS.
There is up to you. Share your input today to help shape the Tallahassee of tomorrow. Take the Clean Energy Survey at talgov.com.
At Epps Decorating Center, we're your locally owned Benjamin Moore retailer. We're your store for quality with brilliant and durable paints in a variety of sheens and thousands of colors. We're your store for service with one-on-one advice for contractors and homeowners. We're your local experts, and we're here to help with all your painting projects. Benjamin Moore, available at Epps Decorating Center with 2 locations in Tallahassee. Find a store near you and visit EppsDecorating.com. That's EppsDecorating.com.
Did you know 1 in 4 vet visits involve skin and coat issues? And 70% of your pet's immune system is based in their gut? Dinovite nutritional supplement has key nutrients for your pet's digestive tract, skin and coat, and immune system for an all-around healthier pet. Get a free probiotics booster with your purchase of Dinovite for dogs by using code DOG at Dinovite.com.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets help with Dinovite.
Hi, this is Joe Cordell with the law firm Cordell & Cordell. Divorce can be complicated, especially if children are involved. If you're a father and want to protect your role in your children's lives, remember Cordell & Cordell. We've helped men with matters like these for 30 years, and we'd love to help you.
CordellCordell.com. Lisa Cargis, Florida resident partner. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only. 904-323-0000. 1 Independent Drive, Suite 2200, Jacksonville, Florida, 32202.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
New phone ringtone, Jeff yelling, I don't want any of those bums. Yeah, the quarterbacks coming out in this year's draft. That was what I was referencing. A lot of them. Bums. Don't want them. I want the crop that comes out next year. That's the group that I want. In particular, one.
I want the coin flip with those guys.
Yeah.
I don't want the coin flip with these guys.
No. These guys feel like a much greater failure rate than the next group of guys that are coming.
Feels like a 2-sided coin.
This feels like
as in one side.
We got no chance is what it feels like. Here you go, flipping for no chance. Coin says no chance on the front and the back. There it is. Pick a side. No chance. Call it. I'll take no chance. You got it.
Sounds like you're doing W's and L's with Miami's schedule. If they're trying for, say, 9 or 10 wins.
Anything you would change about the schedule now that we've had time to think about it? Anything that you don't like at all before we do W's and L's? Anything that you say, you know what? This is less than ideal. My guess is you're going to attack the stretch of Wake, Pitt, Miami.
In a way. If you could remove one of those 2 roadies and throw them in the middle, switcherooski, with the 3 consecutive
instead of the
home
3
games.
straight home games.
This screws the fans. I don't think that the ACC did anything egregious to Florida State in this circumstance. I think that this is a fairly favorable schedule because in theory, you're going to have to play Clemson twice if it all goes chalk. I'd rather play them first early in the season. You know when LSU is. But 3 consecutive home games for those opponents, I feel bad for the season ticket
So you would
holders.
switch at Pitt with Syracuse.
Probably so.
Yeah.
You can even throw the Wake game there. Just
Syracuse.
move one of them. For the season ticket holders, this was already a light slate, man. This was already a tough one to say, I'm not going with the 3-game pack. Give me all the games. I want all 6. And you're going to put 3 of them in a row? Yikes.
I was making plans with my dad yesterday about which games we were going to go to together. He usually picks at least one road game where he says, I'll meet you there.
Is he coming 3 weeks in a row in October?
Yeah, he'll be here. Yeah, he's coming. Man, the man's a warrior.
We'll see.
Oh, he'll be here. He'll be here. He'll go to Virginia Tech, Syracuse, and Duke. Now, he may forego, so I wanted to go to see the Clemson game. I wanted you and I to go to the Clemson game, snap this streak, tell them to suck it, get that win.
The 10th anniversary.
Yeah.
I would have to go back to where I was standing on the sideline, and so would
I'd
you.
have to go back. Well, I stand next to the team. Will Mike let me do that? We'll ask him on Wednesday.
I wonder if Doyle is still there, the state trooper, South Carolina fan. Could find him.
He hates South Carolina. I mean, he hates Clemson.
You stand here as long as you want, as far as I'm concerned. I hate Clemson.
You know what's funny is with my dad coming to every home game, by that third one, I'm like, all right, Dad, I love you. But,
well, you let him.
I mean, come
That's
on.
the thing. Also, a 3-game stretch where you realize that you're in the ACC. If you ever forget for one moment that you're in the ACC, just look at those 3 home games in sequence. Virginia Tech.
Well, now that shouldn't
Syracuse
be
and Duke.
Yes, but that should not be the case. Virginia Tech shouldn't be this kind of ass. I mean, come on now, guys.
Well, they've been that kind of ass for how long? Since Beamer beat us in 10?
Number of years now. It's been tough. They got to get it together up there.
Boy, when they came here with Miami, you just thought Renaissance. No, man.
Well, no, they came here and beat the hell out of us in Willie's first game.
They did.
That was an ass kicking right here. No matter how much jumping around we did before the game, it did not alter.
We tried to set the record for jumping around, too.
Yeah.
Fans, too. We were all jazzed.
Everybody was jumping.
Wrong.
Okay. Cue it up. Let's do it.
Wins.
All right. How you doing?
Losses.
Damn it! We lost. We fucking super lost, man.
Where do we triumph? Where doth thou fall?
Makes me want to watch Tropic Thunder again. That movie is awesome. That movie's hilarious.
Makes me want to go see a for-profit pastor.
Yeah, it was fun. Okay. Right out the gates, we've known about it. LSU in Orlando. Jeff and Tom will be doing the Jeff Cameron Show live, we think, from the Hairy Buffalo. In all likelihood. And we will celebrate that show and that weekend in the return to meaningful football games with a lot on the line. The first game of the year against LSU, September the 3rd, Camping World Stadium. A dump of a stadium, but it will house a very important game nonetheless. Get my sheet organized here, Tom.
Yep.
I feel
We're
like
gonna have
my
to go
mom-
musicless here.
Why?
Because of the new structure of things. It sounds like your microphone would be in a pint of beer.
Oh, I don't think we should do that.
It's okay. We can do it in post.
All right.
This adds to the suspense anyway.
Florida State gets off on the right foot. They get the win in Orlando. For the record, Florida State is 10-0-1, I do believe, all time in Orlando. We don't lose in Orlando. You schedule a game in Orlando, I bitch about it, then I go to it, and then we win it. That's how it works when it's Florida State in Orlando, and that's how it's going to work again this year. A hard-fought, well-played game. The more experienced and better quarterback gets the W. We start off on the right foot yet again at LSU's expense.
LSU can't, and Jaden Daniels cannot hit Keyshawn Booty in a face mask again this year before he's not on that team any longer. Daniels is. Their left tackle should be better. That was quite the lesson that was taught in the first game of the season last year. I said it last year at this time, last year before the game started, that we had the better quarterback.
And we do.
And it proved to be true, and it's going to prove to be true again. Florida State gets out to a lead, sets the pace, and finishes the job this time without some scary extra point drama. Florida State is 1-0, and you have the ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card in your pocket after the first week in Orlando.
Of vital importance, that football game is for the very reason you just expressed. If you win that game, you can lose on the road later to Clemson and still be in the playoff hunt and have that shot at revenge at the end of the year against Clemson. You'll still be highly ranked because of the LSU victory, not because of the subsequent victories over Southern Miss and BC. Just like that, we go WW back-to-back, now 3-0. Yes.
I moved sources around. That's what I did.
Well, I just gave you 2 more wins. You got to predict this.
WW. It's almost like the internet. www.time for Clemson. We're 3-0, baby. Woo! Woo! We are ranked inside the top 5 in the country heading on the road.
College game day on their way to Clemson, South Carolina, recognizing that the matchup is once again big time. The nation tuning in. And unfortunately, Garrett Riley, new offensive coordinator, snaps Clemson out of their funk. And the Florida State defense fails another test. Much to my chagrin, and the first loss of the year occurs. Florida State no longer undefeated. It is a loss on the road at Clemson, September the 23rd, 3-1 headed into the bye week.
Florida State is undefeated as it travels to Clemson. Florida State is undefeated as Dabo runs down the hill. Florida State is undefeated as it's a 25-minute presentation before the kickoff of that game. Florida State leaves Clemson, South Carolina, undefeated, 4-0.
Oh, there he is, always catering to the fan base.
Top 5 in the country. 10-year anniversary. We did it again. We went up there, stuck it to you, Tigers.
I'll be there. I'll go. Tom just plays to the chat. He just wants everybody to love him.
I did last year, and I was right.
Yeah. Bye week, as we lick our wounds, learn from our mistakes. Bye week. I actually would have predicted us. I would have predicted us to beat Clemson had the status quo, been what it was. If they had not made changes, Riley went to TCU following the 2021 campaign, in which TCU finished 5-7. He produced the nation's 65th ranked scoring offense. In his lone season in Fort Worth, he transformed that season into the 9th ranked offense in the country, averaging nearly 40 points a game. They led the Football Bowl subdivision with 22 plays from scrimmage of 50 yards or more. He dials up, like his brother, dynamic offenses. Max Duggan went from who the hell is Max Duggan to, good Lord, look at those Max Duggan numbers, as a runner-up finisher in the Heisman Trophy voting, an All-American, and he'll do the same for Clemson's offense. That was a good hire.
They could be the 9th best offense at Clemson next year. Still won't be better than our offense.
A shootout.
Elite. Get a couple of stops. Make it happen.
Preston's right to point out that after that loss, that would make 8 wins in a row by Clemson, nearly a platinum bohica for Dabo. And that is hurtful, but understand the streak ends right there. Understand the streak ends.
So we've already got a W in the 2024
the
W's and L's.
Ends right there, boys. That's where it is.
There's your futures.
It ends at 8. There it is. Bye week. Coming out of that bye week, looking for revenge. On the wrong end of it, Virginia Tech takes an ass kicking in Doak Campbell Stadium, continuing a trend of Virginia Tech football, which is to say, not good. Not good, man.
A more rabid atmosphere in Tallahassee than Willie Taggart's inaugural game as the head coach of Florida State, because it's a celebration now. Now you're looking around the country. Can we climb to number 1 in the college football playoff rankings?
Here we go.
Yeah, other teams slip up. We're right here.
Right there.
We're right here.
Knocking on the door.
It's the first in another set of wins. 5 in a row to start the season. Second year in a row.
Wow.
5-0.
Syracuse comes to Doak. They're trending in the wrong direction. Tough times at Syracuse. The football team's not any good. They weren't at the end of last year, and they won't be again this year. It is over. Syracuse takes a beating at Doak Campbell. Another win for the Noles as they are off to a 5-1 start, according to me. 6-0, according to Tom. I'm guessing a W is forthcoming.
Yeah, win. It's a little sloppy. We need to look at motivation a little bit. I think Mike Norvell's postgame press conference says, hey, we haven't done anything yet. Need to be consistent week in, week out. I look for better next week. Glad we got the W today, but we move on to Duke. Win.
Duke comes to Doak Campbell Stadium. We're all a little tired having 3 straight home games. But Duke, you're going to have to look out for. They give Clemson a scare early in the season, They have our attention. Elko doing good things at Duke. Nobody confusing Duke for a national championship contender, but the kind of team that can sneak up on you if you overlook them. Florida State with a game at Wake Forest the following week, maybe looking ahead for revenge purposes, never having lost to Duke. We're biting our fingernails at Duke in the Duke game at Doak, heading into the fourth quarter, but the Noles get a couple of late scores to pull away by a couple of touchdowns, and it's another W.
Duke couldn't score 20 points if he gave them 6 quarters. They roll on. The Noles on the ground, take care of it. 36-plus minutes of possession time. Noles win.
Undefeated, according to Tom Lang. 1 loss, according to me, at 6-1. We now go to Wake. Winston-Salem will be the site of some perhaps chilly weather, inclement weather, some winds. But Florida State gets their revenge and dominates the hapless Wake Forest Demon Deacons, who have lost too much to overcome despite being a well-coached football team. All's right in the world again. Florida State gets the W. Wake Forest back in your hole. It's a win for Florida State.
Within 4 possessions, 2 for the offense, 2 for the defense, you can see that Florida State circled this game. They are pissed off. They got on that plane. They didn't care it was a sleepy nooner up there. Took care of business. Florida State wins again. It's getting silly in Tallahassee. Undefeated are the Noles.
You going with a Malbec, or you going with a Pinot Noir? Or you going with a, what you going with, baby?
A little Noir.
A little Beaujolais? What you doing?
A little Pinot Noir, actually.
Okay. I'm going to go get the Malbec. At Pitt, I'll be there, and I hope it's cold as hell, but it won't be. It never gets cold anymore. It's November the 4th, and it will be like 77 degrees, and I'm going to go, what in the world, man? I wanted some cool weather when I came up here, sweater weather, but it's not. Noles go up to Pittsburgh, PA. Great city that it is. Unfortunately, not baseball season, so you folks won't get to see the best stadium in all the land, at least not being played baseball in. You could drive past it. It's right there. Enjoy it. You're all within walking distance the stadiums are. Noles go get a win, but it's a little bit closer than we would like it to be. Good quarterback play, well-coached team, physical team. Florida State has to hang on. We're holding our breath in this one as well because there's a lot on the line now. Problem is it's sandwiched there after Wake in between Miami. You get that Pitt game, and I worry about the sequencing. Give me Florida State in a hard-fought victory.
You know, this is a field that unless your name is Jameis Winston, it feels like it's tough to just go up and down and score touchdown after touchdown. Both in the pros and in college. It just doesn't feel like the greatest show on turf. And so, unfortunately for the Noles, they drop a stunner. Pitt secures the win. They are good for one of these as a program. Every once in a while, they get one here.
A devastating loss.
You see the joy in the faces of ESPN pundits as they break down what happened to Florida State today. It's been a wild Saturday, but none more wild than what happened at the former Heinz Field in a 24-21 win for Pitt.
21 points from this offense, and we're asking questions.
We are.
Heading into the Miami game, Doak Campbell Stadium. Now, fortunately for Florida State, Miami, it is November, having already seen their hopes and dreams dashed way back in September. They come in here with the false bravado of most Miami teams. They puff out their chests. The first series of the game, Florida State answers for that loss at Pitt. Up top yet again. Another roasting early in this game for a touchdown. Jordan Travis, and the offense is underway. They light up the Miami Hurricanes yet again, and this is a W for Florida State.
Worst thing that could have happened to the Miami Hurricanes is what happened in Pittsburgh the week before. And for those of us who are like-minded in the gambling game, this may have discounted the line by about 3 or 4 points. Jump all over the Noles when the line opens on Sunday because
lay those points. Lay them.
After Miami is already not good enough. But when you see the sequence of games that lead into the kickoff against FSU here in Tallahassee, that is a beleaguered bunch.
It's a rabid fan base hungry to get a win.
They'll show their ass in the pregame.
Always.
Like they did when Clemson went down there and they lost 59-0. It's going to be a similar type beatdown to this year. They might get to 10, though. They may score a touchdown. Florida State all over Miami. This game's over by halftime.
Need another Jamie Robinson dismissive flippity-do of the quarterback. Make it happen. He's not here, but somebody can assume the role.
Absolutely.
North Alabama, I don't know why we're talking about them, other than they are on the list of victories for Florida State.
They made the schedule.
There they are. North Alabama. W for Florida State. Ooh, a lot of backups in this game. A lot of intriguing prospects. We get opportunities in this football game to watch many of our backups lighten it up, and we're excited about the future.
More yards passing against North Alabama. Tate Rodemaker or A.J. Duffy?
Oh, wow. I like it. Tate's going to light him up. Maybe even a rare start.
On the way to a W, in case you needed the reassurance in the chat and on the podcast. Florida State wins the game. 10-1.
If Florida were to solve their quarterback situation, and they have not, but it's a weird time in college football, there is still an opportunity to go get a quarterback. This game would make me a lot more nervous. So perhaps in future W's and L's, the discussion shifts. But as it stands now, they don't have a quarterback. And you need one to beat Florida State. Noles get the win down in Gainesville. It is an unreal regular season campaign. The lone loss coming on the road to Clemson in a toughie. The Florida State Seminoles finish 11-1 and on their way to the ACC championship game for a rematch with the Clemson Tigers.
Down there in hell known as Gainesville, you'll hear the following as you're walking out to get a refill at halftime, and Gators fans are leaving the stadium. What they're going to be saying as they're leaving the stadium at halftime and you're leaving
Purple Porpoise
to get a refill is, thank God Jordan Travis is gone after this year. Thank God that kid's gone.
Let's go to the Lavender Mullet.
And you know what? You get 2 for 1 if you have a mullet. So a lot of Gators will be drinking 2 for 1s that day at halftime. It's 11-1, and we're off to Charlotte. We are off to Charlotte to play for the right to go to the college football playoff.
That's what we're saying. They're saying, let's go to the Brass Monkey. Let's take it on over to Balls. I told you I fell asleep at Balls one time.
Did you?
Standing up against the big screen. I was awakened by a furious man who said, hey, get the hell out of the way. I was a little bleary-eyed.
You were in the way, not next to the screen?
I was standing in front of the screen. I was leaning up against it.
That's funny for about 30 seconds if you're on the other side. If you're the person trying to watch the television, you're like, look at this guy. So
here's the deal. I wasn't driving, and we went to this guy's house who I didn't know, and it just got out of control. And I was in my early
coming in hot.
I was in my early 20s, and they were like, hey, we should take it over to Balls. And I was like, all right, let's go. And thinking I had the energy to do that. And then we got into Balls, and I was like, little neppy poo here for me.
That's what they say in the service industry. When somebody like you that day was walking, coming in hot.
I was 21. Yeah.
Got a couple of live ones.
Yeah. I would never have fallen asleep had we gone to the Lavender Mullet.
Right. Balls just felt like
it's just like a good place to take a nap.
Good atmosphere for a nap.
We both went 11-1 with Florida State in our first edition of W's and L's. There it is. We'll do more. It could change radically. Could be 12-0. Could be 6-6. Who knows?
No postseason W's and L's.
That's
the other thing.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that another time. What a very different outlook this version of W's and L's was this year as opposed to last at this time. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
News now.
Local COVID sites are hoping to adjust following the Biden administration's announcement and emergency declarations. Several emergency measures put in place back in 2020 are set to end on May 11th, almost 3 years after going into effect. What this means is that resources like COVID testing will no longer be free and will also require a doctor's order for testing, and other treatments for COVID will now come at a cost. The FAMU site is hoping to still be able to provide services even after the emergency declarations end. The Florida Highway Patrol responded to a deadly crash Monday evening that left one pedestrian dead. The crash happened around 9 p.m. on North Jefferson Highway and Elkins Road when an SUV was traveling southbound. At the time, a 41-year-old Tallahassee man was walking with traffic along the white fog lines in the outside lane of travel. As the SUV continued southbound, the front right of that vehicle hit the pedestrian. He was pronounced dead on the scene. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Slight chance for scattered rain showers this afternoon, otherwise mainly cloudy. Highs level off around 77, northwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Slight chance for scattered rain showers again tonight, lows around 60, cloudy. Overcast skies again tomorrow. Slight chance for scattered thunderstorms, highs level off around 76. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 77.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space. Well, you got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Hey, Matt.
Yes, Greg?
You know all the different ways that you can listen to Real Talk 93.3?
There are several.
So we've got realtalk93.com. You can go back and listen to all of our shows in the podcast section.
That's right. You can also listen on our app as well.
Search Real Talk 93.3 and look for the red microphone and download our app. Never go anywhere without us.
And of course, you can always listen right on the radio.
Well, they are listening.
Are they?
If they're hearing this commercial, then they're listening.
That's true. I hadn't thought about that.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
If you're about to buy a home, man is a true Knoll and going to save you a ton of money. Legendary Home Loans, 844 FSU Loan. Overlooked note here that we didn't get a chance to talk about, Tom. I always look at these things, and per our discussion a moment ago about my escapades at Balls in Gainesville, former quarterback Stetson Bennett, as you guys know, former Georgia quarterback Stetson Bennett, still a quarterback. Arrested on public intoxication charges in Dallas. Did you happen to see the time? I always look at the time.
No, but I heard that the takedown was, and you'll discuss that, I'm sure, but was pretty good. Pretty good sized takedown.
In a statement to ESPN, a Dallas Police Department spokesperson said that the officers responded to a report, or actually multiple reports, of a man banging on doors at the 1600 block of Tribeca Way at 7:10 a.m. Woo!
Oh, no.
My man.
I didn't expect that.
Have yourself a night. Holy moly. You got to be home. If it goes to 7:10 a.m., you got to be home. You can't be out and about I'm too old to do 7:10 a.m. anymore, but there was a time. The rule was if it was going to go like that, you had to be home. You couldn't be out and about because you could end up banging on doors, lost and confused. This is how it happens. See, you got to be on your porch at your apartment. Where I was when I saw a jogger at 6:20 a.m. as the sun was coming up, and I turned to Matt Britton and said, "Good God, that's God's flashlight. We need to go to bed." That man was just jogging all healthy. We were out on the porch smoking a cigar. That's it. You got to call it a day. Stetson, get off a Tribeca Way, baby. It's 7:10 a.m.
Can you remember what the jogger looked like?
No.
Okay. That would have been something.
No, I don't remember what the jogger looked like. It was a dude, and he was like sprinting.
He was getting it.
I was disappointed. He was really moving. It made me feel worse. He was just shuffling. I'd be like, he was going. He was getting his day started. I wonder if it was TPE a long time ago. No, I think he was doing quite well not to be in that apartment complex. But I wasn't. I was making 31 grand a year. I had to be at that apartment, buddy. Those are tough times. Bennett left the detention center Sunday morning. Well, they arrested him Sunday morning. So I don't know what time he got out of there, but it was before noon. No doubt got picked up, but tough times there, Stetson. It's a misdemeanor. He'll be all right. He's probably laughing now, but banging on the doors at 7:10 a.m. That I want to know where they were. I want to know what that night looked like.
Well, look, he wasn't going to make first round money anyway, but he cost himself a couple of bucks probably.
Maybe. I don't think guys care that much about that. I mean, if he has a career problem, like if they go and they do so many background checks.
That's now part of it, though.
Yeah, they could just tell, is this a one-off? A man is blowing off steam, 2-time national champion, still feeling good about the accomplishments, went out to Dallas to visit some friends, got a little loose in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and we don't see anything from his past in Athens. It'll be all right. I don't think they care that much.
Look, Stetson, if you want to get a little loose every once in a while, that's no big deal. But then you don't tip as well. We got to eliminate one of these. I need you to pick. If you're going to be my quarterback,
you're going to have to do better.
You're going to have to pick one or the other. Either gratuities go up or consumption comes down. One of the two.
Oh, man. That was hilarious. No, that was not Chateau de Ville. That's not where I was. No, Dad, it was a different apartment complex. Although every time I pass Chateau, I think of, they changed the name of the apartment complex that I actually lived in there off of Ocala.
Oh, well, that was Berkshire Manor?
Berkshire Manor, yeah. When I pass Berkshire Manor now, I thought that place was luxurious. When I pass it now, I'm like, good God.
In those days, that part of town was the luxurious campus living. And now everybody lives on campus. And so Lord knows what the maintenance schedule is like at those apartment complexes.
That's how On Maintenance Tuesday happened, yeah. But I moved from there and went to a nicer apartment complex, but it's still an apartment complex.
Did it have villa in the name?
When you live alone, when you get to where you have lived alone or you own a home, the thought of what your living arrangements used to be like, it's unbearable. You think, what was I doing? I lived in a 2-bedroom with 3 people. One of them slept on the couch every night, taking up space. If you came home, you're like, oh, don't worry about that. It's my roommate. He's sleeping on the couch. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
There's a friend of ours in undergrad who everybody had one of these, and we all took turns being that guy, I think, or gal. Probably not the gals as much as the guys. But he likes to listen to the show, so if he's flying back from his trip and listening, he'll get a kick out of this. There was a year where I think for a month to 6 weeks straight, he slept on our futon.
Yeah.
And
nobody thought anything of it.
But he had his own place. It was 10, 15 minutes away.
A little too much fun at your place, and then...
Well, we had a kegerator.
And that'll happen.
And we had Xbox Live. And so I'd go to class. I'd come back. There he is. He's like, hey, man, you want to drop the sticks? Let's go. Let's play some Halo. What do you say? I'm like, hello, roommate.
Yeah, well, the same thing for me off of St. Augustine in those townhouses. My buddy Joey and Eric and Ross lived there. I didn't live there, but I may as well have. I was at that place. We would do all kinds of things. I mean, ridiculous, like huge grill fests out in the parking lot. We'd have parties over there that would last 3 days. I never left.
This is how much craft beer was in its infancy. So we had the kegerator, but we would get the torpedo kegs of nicer stuff.
Oh, okay.
Quote unquote. Cherry Wheat by Sam Adams was their favorite. I never enjoyed it. I was early on a brown ale and porters guy, stouts. But they always had the Cherry Wheat on tap on the torpedo keg. And that's what got them to hang around. It was always about the Cherry Wheat.
The Cherry Wheat.
Yeah.
We once attended a party in the early days of craft beers and the very early days of craft beers, and this was considered craft beer.
I have a guess.
Go.
Killian's.
Killian's Red was considered a craft beer. And it's not. And it was Killian's, and we were like, look at this special beer we got.
Like poor Paul's could charge more for Killian's than they did like a Coors.
It's exactly right. We'd have those parties. We thought we were uppity with our Killian's. Only special people could come to that party. You had to be able to chip in $1 or $2.
Newcastle, Amberbach, and Yingling. Those were like considered the fancy beers.
Amberbach. Good God. I remember the Amberbach phase. People, I'm going to get the Amberbach for us. No.
Yeah, it's my turn with the pitcher. I'm getting an Amberbach.
Good old, yeah. I remember the Red Dogs, Preston.
Red Dog, yeah.
What was the one that gave you the headache that was so awful?
Colt 45.
No, it started with an L. What was the name of that beer?
An L?
I think
Ice House.
Ice House. That was the one. Yeah, it wasn't an L at all.
It was, yeah.
Ice House.
It's like a lowercase L.
I think Ice House was the worst beer I've ever drank. Do they still make Ice House?
We got a rubber keg of that
It
one
should
night.
be criminalized.
Yeah, that was bad news.
It's awful beer. And when you drink it, you're instantly hungover. It's crazy. Like 30 minutes after the first one, you're like, oh, man, I'm hungover. You've only had 2. Oh, overdid it with the Ice House.
This was a good Tub Talk.
Good work for you. Thanks to good work out of you. Thanks to our friends at Pitch a Penny in the Tub Talk. Good job, Matthew. Be well, everybody. Peace.